But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
An actor who had it all in Hollywood became a victim of the vicious woke mob who humiliated him in public for an incident that happened decades ago. Liam Neeson faced the full wrath of the politically correct communities and was at risk of losing his acting career. But instead of giving up, the actor faced the backlash head on and fought back to protect his reputation from the false accusations made by the vultures of woke ideologies. But what was the incident that provoked the woke mob to ambush Liam Neeson and make him their worst enemy? Before becoming a blockbuster celebrity, Liam Neeson was just an ordinary guy who was born in Ballymena, Northern Ireland. The actor's upbringing was harsh, but he managed to push through the obstacles of life and began working odd jobs to make an honest living. After realizing that he had a passion for acting, Neeson began attending acting classes at his local theater and started starring in stage plays. After spending years in theater, the actor realized that he wanted to star in bigger roles and wanted to transition towards the big screens of cinema. Neeson moved to London, and from there, his career skyrocketed as he began starring in movies that featured legendary celebrities like Robert De Niro, Anthony Hopkins, and Mel Gibson. After decades of hard work and dedication, the actor began playing the main lead in movies that were making millions at the box office, but it seemed like Neeson's luck was soon going to run out. During a press tour for his movie Cold Pursuit, Neeson was asked by a reporter from the independent news outlet to describe his character in the movie. Instead of telling a sob story about a fictional character, the actor poured his heart out and recounted a 40-year-old incident. He described how one of his female friends was sexually assaulted by a black man, and which led to him being consumed by blind rage.
I'll tell you a story. This is true. I'm not going to use any names, but I was away and I came back and she told me she had been, but she handled the situation in the most extraordinary way. But my immediate reaction was, I asked, did she know who it was? No. What color were they? She said it was a black person. I went up and down areas with a cosh, hoping I'd be approached by somebody. I'm ashamed to say that. And I did it for maybe a week, hoping some black would come out of a pub and have a go at me about something, so that I could kill him. And it took me a week, maybe a week and a half to kind of go for that.
After the interview was published on the internet, the woke mob smelled blood in the water and dedicated their lives to ruining Neeson's career, taking his words out of context and labeling him a racist without listening to the whole interview and taking time to understand the actor's true feelings.
It was horrible, horrible when I think back. But I did that, and I've never admitted that to it. I'm saying it to a journalist. God forbid.
Holy shit.
It's awful. But I did learn a lesson from it when I eventually thought, what are you doing, you know? And I come from a society, I grew up in Northern Ireland in the Troubles, and you know, I knew a couple of guys that died on hunger strike, and I had acquaintances that were very caught up in the Troubles. And I understand that need for revenge, but it just leads to more revenge and more killing and more killing. And, you know, Ireland, Northern Ireland's proof of that. You know, all the stuff that's happening in the world, the violence is proof of that. You know?
It was clear in the interview that Neeson regretted the incident and that his hatred was no excuse to hurt someone, let alone a black man. But to the woke mob, the initial statement was enough to start a cancellation campaign against the actor and dedicate their resources towards blacklisting him from the film industry. According to Liam Neeson, he was a victim of his upbringing, as Northern Ireland was an all-white region which was suffering from a civil war. Since childhood, he was taught to hate anyone that had a different skin color, which made him a bitter person throughout his early adult life. and the incident with his female friend just reignited those feelings. But the reason for telling the story to the reporters wasn't for his own pride or ego. It was a reflection of how much he had grown as a role model and was nothing like the hateful person he was decades ago. It's common for a man to be a victim of his time and upbringing, as each region in the world has a different culture. But just like Liam Neeson, it's the duty of the man to be a better version of his former self, all while supporting others who want to go through the same character development. But instead of being appreciated for his honesty, Neeson was thrown to the wolves by liberal news outlets. Mainstream media began making headlines about the actor wanting to kill an innocent black man, which provoked the woke mob to double their efforts and call out the actor for his violent tendencies towards minorities. Even though Neeson stopped himself from doing anything violent, Neeson became a victim of woke culture as his movie premieres and interviews were being canceled from all sides. And to pour salt on the wound, Hollywood producers and executives shunned Neeson out of their inner circles, thinking that the actor was bad news and went against their woke narratives. Instead of staying silent and letting the woke mob win, Neeson took a stand for himself and began making efforts to redeem his image in the eyes of the public. In an interview on Good Morning America, Neeson made an attempt to clear his name from the accusations, but was confronted with questions that had the potential to entrap the actor into admitting fault. Neeson answered the questions with full transparency while maintaining his composure.
Would you have had the same reaction if your friend had said it was a white man? Would you want her to go out and kill him?
If she'd have said an Irish, or a Scot, or a Brit, or a Lithuanian, I know I would have had the same effect. I was trying to show honor to stand up for my dear friend in this terrible medieval fashion. And I'm a fairly intelligent guy, and that's why it kind of shocked me when I came down to earth after having these horrible feelings. Luckily, no violence occurred, ever. Thanks be to God.
Neeson's heartfelt response clearly showed how much he cared for his friend, and seeing them in pain was too much to bear, but it seemed like the vultures from the woke communities were plotting for another cancellation spree, as they called out Neeson for pretending to be apologetic and smeared his name even more on all social media platforms. Unlike the people brainwashed with leftist ideologies, some celebrities were touched by Neeson's statement and began showing support for their fellow colleague, not thinking about the repercussions they were going to face from the corrupt Hollywood studios and executives. Celebrities like Michelle Rodriguez, Whoopi Goldberg, and Terry Crews all stood beside Neeson and highlighted the fact that mainstream media blew everything out of proportion while also calling out the unnecessary attempts made by the woke mob to cancel the actor. Seeing the support from celebrities that were themselves belonging to a minority group silenced the brainwashed crowd for the time being and gave Neeson even more strength to push forward in life. But the support from his colleagues wasn't the only thing that was going to silence the woke mob, as Neeson himself was going to clap back harder than any celebrity, ending the fiasco once and for all. As the years went by, the actor went into radio silence and was nowhere to be seen, which gave the woke mob a false sense of victory. But as they were celebrating their vindictive efforts, Neeson came out guns blazing and shot down the mob's joyous occasion by making a surprise appearance on a streaming show. In an episode of Atlanta, Neeson appeared as a cameo, where he was playing a satirical version of himself, who mentioned how the people from woke culture miserably failed to cancel him and made a fool of themselves.
You might have heard or read about my transgression. You know, what I said about what I wanted to do to a black guy, any black guy, when I was a younger man in London. A friend of mine had been raped, and I acted out of anger. I look back now and it honestly frightens me. I thought people knowing who I once was made clear who I am, who I've become. But with all that being said, I am sorry. I apologize if I hurt people.
It's good to know that you don't hate black people now, you know?
What? No. I can't stand a lot of you. Well, now I feel that way. Because you tried to ruin my career. Didn't succeed, mind you. However, I'm sure one day I will get over it.
But then you learn that you shouldn't say shit like that?
Aye. But I also learned that the best and worst part about being white is you don't have to learn anything if you don't want to.
Neeson's cameo in the show was a slap in the face for the woke mob and had succeeded in its delivery, as the actor was praised for fighting his demons and not shying away from his controversies, instead mocking the people that exaggerated the tragic events of his life, being too focused on ruining one man's life while actual injustice was taking place in different parts of the country. The creator of the show, Donald Glover, supported Neeson's journey of redemption and gave the actor a platform to finally shut down the woke mob. The actor's relentless journey to clear his name and the support from the brave celebrities give all of us an image of hope, where people who believe in the truth do not give in to the pressures of woke society. Instead, they face the forces of oppression head on. After looking at Liam Neeson's journey, it became apparent that the woke movement refuses to accept one crucial fact about human nature. It's that people make mistakes throughout their lives, and one's past does not determine their future. By silencing and exiling others from society for a mistake they made decades ago, the woke mob is doing more harm than good, as they're hindering an individual's progress to grow as a decent human being and preventing everyone to be united as one by acknowledging each other's shortcomings. By looking at Liam Neeson's redemption arc and his fight against woke culture, we wonder, does Hollywood blacklist actors that do not fit their woke status quo, and has Liam Neeson fully redeemed himself in the public's eye? Let us know your thought in the comments below.